Okay, so I've already recorded this twice. I hated both of those recordings, so here we are for number 3. Okay, everyone, I wanted to make this video specifically so I could share with y'all what I am doing to prepare for a through hike next year with my mom in 2025. So this is going to encompass 3 areas of topics. It's going to be physical preparations, logistical preparations, and financial preparations. So I'm long-winded, I've realized, and I'm going to try to make this not long-winded. So physical preparations. The number one thing that I am doing to physically prepare for a 5 to 6 month through hike is going to be pack walks. Okay, otherwise known to many people as rucking. So I do thankfully have pretty much all my gear for this through hike. So what I do at least once, preferably twice a week, is I will load up my pack with all my gear. I'll pack it exactly how I like it. I will simulate the food with a 5-pound bag of grits and 2 1-pound bags of beans and lentils. So about 7 pounds simulated of food, and then probably about 6 to 7 pounds of water. Load it up, get it on my pack, get everything ready, pretend like I'm going on a hike, and I will walk right out the front door and walk around the neighborhood. It's not incredibly hilly, so no, I'm not getting a lot of preparation in terms of going up mountains and going back down, but the truth is something's better than nothing, and I can't always just drive, 2 hours to the mountains to do a hike, to prep, and then turn around and come back. So you work with what you got. That's the easiest way to do it, and so that's my number one thing that I'm doing. My number one tip for anyone out there: load your pack up with as much weight as you can. Increase it weekly, increase it every other week, however you want to do it. And then just walk, go outside. If you have a trail close by, that's obviously going to be preferred. But my neighborhood is like very conveniently exactly 1 mile down and back. So it's just really easy for me to do that. Now, I also have low back pain, so I'm doing some functional training movements, which are like hip hinges and putting a band around my legs under my knees and doing side steps and stuff like that. I'm doing those. I'm going to the chiropractor every other week up until the hike. I don't see the chiropractor happening while I'm on the hike, but I'm doing that now. And then the other thing I'm doing, which is not as consistent as I would like it to be, are pull-ups, push-ups, and then some sort of ab workout. I've been very slack on that, so I will fully admit that. But as you can see, this is nothing extreme. I'm not going to the gym, going crazy. I'm just doing what works for me. And, the truth of the matter is that when you're doing a through hike, you're going to have a lot of weight on your back, and you're going to be walking for 5 to 6 months. So I just feel like the best way to prepare is for me to put my pack on with all my weight and walk. Okay, so that is everything for the physical preparations. So now let's move to the logistical preparations. I am a planner, plain and simple. So when me and my mom first started talking about this, I just got zoned in, got obsessed. So I wanted every resupply stop. I wanted it written down in my notes with, the mileage between one stop and the next, how many days of food we probably needed, can we send a box, is there a Walmart, is it just a gas station, so do we definitely need to send a box? And then also lodging options. We do not want to spend a lot of money on this hike. We really want to keep it minimal. So because of that, we're definitely going to stay in some hotels, but we're going to be looking at campgrounds, places that we can just kind of roll in, do our laundry, take a shower, do what we need to do, resupply, and go. We are not trying to be the people that are spending, $1,000 every week or something. I don't know who's doing that, but we're trying to keep this very much to a budget. So because of that, I wanted to have options written down. I wanted to know in advance, okay, when we get to this particular location, we know that we're staying here, they're going to have our box, boom. So those are the type of planning details that I have written down. Over the last 6 to 8 months, and I will tell you right now we're about 9 months out, so this has been quite a process. I've got a notebook where I've just been like making notes for this hike, and then I compiled all of my notes to this nice printed out chart. I got a little obsessed, but it's got the start and then the destination for that, stint of time. It's got the miles between, and then the next section tells us, how many days of food we want and if we're sending a box. And then it says the resupply information. So if we're sending a box, it has the address. If we're going to the store, it has that store with the hours that they are open, and then the lodging notes. So this is printed out because I like physical copies, but obviously we'll have the digital copy with us just so we can reference it. We know things change when you're on the trail. Some of this, obviously is going to have to be flexible, but this is a tentative plan for when we get out there. On that same note of the resupply boxes, I will go ahead and tell you that we're planning to send, I think, 14 boxes, and that is literally spread throughout the entire trail. Like our first resupply stop is going to have a box, and then our very last resupply box is going to have a stop. So I feel pretty good about having, I can choose to have healthy options in those boxes no matter where we go when we have to buy stuff. I know my boxes will be healthy options for me. So if I can at least do about half the time knowing that my food is what I consider healthy, and then the other half of the time buying what I can find at the store that I feel like is healthy, that's just a good place for me to be at with the nutrition. Okay, number 3, we are on to finances. So the number one thing, I think that this is just a complete obvious for anyone thinking about a thru hike, you're not going to have a job. Or the vast majority of people doing a thru hike, myself included, my mom included, we will not have jobs. So because of that, we have to save up money in advance so that we have plenty of money to do things while we're out there and pay for the hike. So I took a good detailed look at my budget to see exactly how much money I can put in my hiking account per month. I am not going to go into specifics just because everyone is so different. Everyone has different, requirements, bills, paychecks. Just basically I figured out what I could afford to do per month, and I'm putting that aside. I do have a top limit that I'm shooting for. I shouldn't have a problem getting there, but again, being flexible, things happen. I'm just doing the best I can with that. Another thing to help me with finances throughout, these next 9 months until we start is every time I go to a particular store for like groceries or something, if that store has one of my staples, I'm going to go ahead and grab one. So Sam's, for example, is where I buy my instant rice. If I'm going to Sam's for any item, I'm going to go ahead and grab a big box. If I'm going to Lidl for any groceries, I'm going to go ahead and grab a box of couscous. If I check Amazon, which I check every day, and they have a sale on the bean flakes I like, I'm going to go ahead and buy a bag. So a lot of this is knowing the food that I want to pack in those 14 boxes. And then I get an idea of, okay, I'm going to need this many ounces total between all my boxes. So then I'm like, okay, well then I need this many boxes, bags, whatever. And so as the weeks go on, if I spend, $10 here, $15 here on some of those items, obviously that's going to be less of a strain now and a less of a strain later. Because if I wait to do all my resupply stuff, a couple months before we go, that's going to be a large amount of money that I need to spend. And if it's a large amount all at once, I can guarantee it's probably going to come out of that hiking account, and I don't want that to happen. So because we're only 9 months out, my staples are shelf stable for like a year or two. Nothing's going to go bad because we're looking at oats, couscous, instant rice, instant white rice, and bean flakes, TVP, peanut butter, cashews, and olive oil. Those are the big ones that I'm focusing on now. And I've got a good little bit stashed away. So another thing for the finances too is that, you know, a lot of those bigger cost items like travel to the start, whether that's a plane or renting a car, I'm hoping that that can actually just come out of my paycheck whenever it's time to buy that. I want to leave that hiking fund savings account completely alone until we get out there on the trail. I don't want to spend a dime of that before we get out there. So anything that I can do beforehand to save from using that, great. Another thing I've done is I've gone ahead and bought all my shoes. I know what shoe I like. I know what hiking shoe I prefer. I do not want to wait and buy those out on trail because quite frankly, I can't always find those in the stores. And my hiking shoe of choice is the Danner 2650. I really prefer the Campo version. I don't think I've talked about these in any of my hiking videos, so maybe that'll be another video. But I really like those, and a lot of times if you are patient and you start checking in advance and you aren't in a rush to buy a pair of shoes, you can check their closeouts on the Danner website, and I just bought 2 pairs of shoes for I think $140 total when the normal starting price for 1 pair of shoes is $160. So yeah, really good deal. I also got several pairs off of eBay. I guess I just got lucky. There was somebody who had like a whole bunch of Danner shoes, and they were selling brand new shoes for $50. So I've already got all of my shoes for the trail. I'm saving up the food for the trail. When it comes around time to start putting together those resupply boxes, I should not have a lot of out-of-cost fees or payments or whatever you want to say. I shouldn't have a lot of that in the moment because I've been planning for so far in advance. Okay, I think that those are the biggest things that I am doing now to prepare for a through hike about a year in advance. We will have an announcement video coming up. Probably, I wouldn't mind doing it at the end of this year, but I think my mom wants to wait until next year. So that'll come at some other point. I will say that we're really excited about this. We've been really thinking about this for a while. Well, actually it's been on her list for a lot longer than mine. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I tried to make this really quick and efficient. If you have any other tips for me, please feel free to share them in the comments. I am completely open for tips. I've got plenty of time in advance before the trail, so I've got time to tweak things. So anyway, y'all have a great day, and I will see y'all soon. Okay, this will be a break right here where I cut this out. Logistics.